and welcome back to the Bible Boys podcast. I'm James, joined as always with my good buddy Jeff. Jeff, how we doing?
It's good, man. Spooky season. How you doing?
Pretty good, dude. So I was reading the news today, and I saw that old Glenn Greenwald has
The
resigned.
Intercept?
Has resigned from the Intercept because the Intercept themselves were trying to censor his article critical of Joe Biden.
So it's just another media outlet that's lost all kind of integrity.
Yep, another day in the old election cycle. So let's get into this article he wrote here. So, my resignation from the Intercept. Today, I set my intention to resign from the Intercept, the news outlet I co-founded in 2013 with Jeremy Scahill and Laura Poitras, as well as from its parent company, First Look Media. The final, precipitating cause is that the Intercept's editors, in violation of my contractual right of editorial freedom, censored an article I wrote this week, refusing to publish it unless I remove all sections critical of Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. The candidate vehemently supported by all New York-based Intercept editors involved in this effort at suppression. The censored article, based on recently revealed emails and witness testimony, raised critical questions about Biden's conduct. Not content to simply prevent publication of this article at the media outlet I co-founded, these Intercept editors also demanded that I refrain from exercising a separate contractual right to publish this article with any other publication. So, to me, this doesn't seem like, it seems like a common thing nowadays, especially with this story. So it broke with the New York Post on Twitter. Instantly, they were suspended. Anyone publishing the documents or the article suspended. We know that. So it would seem to me, this was a long time coming. We know the Intercept has moved farther left. A couple of years ago, I used to listen to a lot of the podcasts done by the Intercept by Jeremy Scahill, and then the one guy, Mehdi Hassan, I think his name is, very far left. And this was when I was super on the left. And I remember listening to a podcast between Jeremy Scahill and Glenn Greenwald. And they were debating the Russia scandal. And Glenn Greenwald was the first person that I ever heard from the left that said that, this is bunk. This is it's nothing. And Jeremy Scahill, was go on and say, how can you say that? And, it all comes back, I think, to he's grown past the left's version of the news, because it's not news.
There's a lot of people. No, it's fiction, and there's a lot of people who see it. They say, to be quite frank, it's indoctrination, and I can't really blame them. They go get these degrees. We all have degrees, and they're filled with critical theory and the absolute disregard for individualism, and they try to lump everybody together. Even Twitter, the head of Homeland Security said that the border wall was helping to cut down on illegal entering into the country.
Yeah,
and Twitter suspended his account for it. They said it was hateful speech.
I saw that story. You can't even have your own objective thoughts anymore.
No, if you don't conform to what they say, you're going to be censored.
It's gotten a crazy level, hasn't it?
It's not the government even doing it. It's capitalism, and it's these tech giants. Before with net neutrality, people were like, oh, well, the name sounds like, they're repealing net neutrality. Well, if Google doesn't support it, then what do you really think it's net neutrality? No, it made it harder for competition. Now we have these giant tech companies who control all forms of our entertainment and publication. And quite frankly, what they're doing is they're going to pick the winner of this election. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're already on that route. If Trump can win, I think that just goes to show you that at least some of the American public has come out and they are completely against everything that these left-wing establishments are for.
You can't even find, I had a colleague, and they were like, who are you voting for? And I was like, I don't know. Which old man do I want to vote for? She said, well, I'm not voting for the racist. And I said, so which one's that? And she's like, well, Trump's a racist. And I was like, well, didn't Biden say that, he didn't want his kid in a racial jungle in school? I mean, didn't he pass crime bills that disproportionately hurt black people? But you'll never know that
No,
unless
you
you
would
do
never
your
know
own
that.
digging. So
Yeah, and most people don't, right?
right. So he gets removed from a company that he founded or helped co-found because he wants to write some true things about Joe Biden.
Hmm.
So basically, what you're saying is that the only person that we're allowed to critique is Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. So he gets into what the
Okay.
Intercept has become here. So the current iteration of the Intercept is completely unrecognizable when compared to that original version. Rather than offering a venue of airing dissent, marginalized voices, and unheard perspectives, it is rapidly becoming just another media outlet with mandated ideological and partisan loyalties. A rigid and narrow range of permitted viewpoints, ranging from establishment liberalism to soft leftism, but always anchored in ultimate support for the Democratic Party, like all these other outlets. A deep fear of offending hegemonic cultural liberalism and center left Twitter luminaries, and an overarching need to secure the approval and admiration of the very mainstream media outlets we created the Intercept to oppose, critique, and subvert. As a result, it is a rare event indeed when a radical freelance voice, unwelcome in mainstream precincts, is published in the Intercept. Outside reporters or writers with no claim to mainstream acceptability, exactly the people we set out to amplify, have almost no chance of being published. It is even rare for the Intercept to publish content that would not fit very comfortably in at least a dozen or more center-left publications of similar size, which predated its founding, from Mother Jones to Vox and even MSNBC.
So
And
is he saying
we know the kind of garbage that's coming from Mother Jones, Vox, and
Vox is one
MSNBC.
of the worst, man?
Vox is pretty bad, dude.
So what he's saying is they're even farther left than they are.
Oh yeah, he's basically saying that it's completely devolved into just another outlet, and none of these outlets have any real difference. I mean, at least in my opinion, you can open one article, go to another publication, and they're all saying basically the same thing.
I mean, basic conflict of interest is going to say too. So his parent company is owned by Michael Bloomberg, who was once a president for the Democrat Party. Logic would say that that's conflict of interest right there. You're getting your news source from a person who ran as a president for the Democrat Party, so of course he's going to have the vested interest of the Democrat Party. Am I missing something?
I don't know that it is owned by him.
Michael Bloomberg?
Let me see what he says up here. No, it's Michael Bloom.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, well, there goes that theory. But no, but it's really ironic too that we can pick science or we can pick journalism that fits our political agenda. So like if I want to go and I want to post something from the Daily Wire, it's automatically not credible because it's a right-wing source. Only left-wing sources can be credible.
Yeah.
I mean, and these people have the same degrees from the same institutions, but for some reason, only leftist publications are allowed to be factual.
Yeah, it's a weird time that we live in, and I think the most exciting thing to me is if Trump wins, I want to see the implosion.
I do too.
Because
That's the only reason I hope he wins.
It is going to be beautiful to watch all of these people, all of these talking heads, just their heads just go
explode. And like the bleeding heart liberals, the bleeding heart leftists, they talk violence, but I don't think they're prepared for that type of violence that they threaten. And I just want to see them break down. That's literally it. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that like if in reality, my life's not going to change that much whoever wins. Like
No.
it's really not. I mean, there's certain things like guns. I have guns. I like my guns. Do I think Joe Biden's going to take my guns? Not realistically, no. I mean, if he does, then that's going to be a losing battle because Americans aren't going to do that. And I might lose a little bit more money on my paycheck.
Mhm.
Even if he doesn't raise taxes for people, like he says, only for people who make over $400,000, he's still talking about lowering them child tax credits and stuff, which is which you know lessens your deductible,
Mhm.
and it's more tax on your income. It's not anything significant, but it's still less money in my pocket, and I'm not going to vote for less money in my pocket.
Yeah, it's hard for me to do that as well. It
I
doesn't
like
really make sense.
no, like I'm not voting to take food out of my kid's mouth.
Did you see what 50 Cent said about that? He said he was voting for Donald Trump because if Biden won, he would become 20 Cent
Yeah,
because he's gonna hike his taxes up.
and then he changed his mind because his ex girlfriend, I can't remember what her name is.
Kelsey
Uh,
Handler.
yeah, said that she'd pay his taxes, which is all cool and dandy. But I thought the left's platform was lift every African American voice and lift every female or woman's voice. But if you're the new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Barrett, your voice can't be lifted. If you're against Joe Biden and you're black, your voice isn't lifted. There's no consistency. It's hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's basically. I mean, if you're not towing the line, it doesn't matter what race you are. What you're you're nothing.
Like
Your voice is nothing.
AOC tweeted earlier. She said she was mad that Republicans were making fun of her, I guess, because she was wearing like a really, really expensive outfit on her Vogue cover, which of course she's going to get the cover of Vogue because she's a Democrat, It's no surprise. And she said, well, Democrats, to make your image look better, you could start by drinking water and not being racist. Like you can't do that. You can't say a
I
whole
don't
group of
understand.
people is racist.
But I mean, but that's the claim. That's always the claim. But and
Yeah.
so at least the conversations I've had with people in comment sections that try and say, someone has a racist ideology or they're fascist. I always say, if you make the claim, then the burden of proof is on you. So, back up what you're saying. You're calling someone whatever name you want to throw. The burden of proof is on you to show me that.
And black people really don't, or women, they don't have any problem winning a Republican ticket. I mean, my senator is a black Republican,
Mhm.
and that right there just shows me that conservatives are typically willing to vote for whoever supports their ideology, regardless of race or color. But the left has been screeching, "No more old white men in the office,"
There's-
except Joe
I know,
Biden. There's no consistency.
yeah. No, it's just so my theory is there's just people that haven't realized that the Democrats don't give a shit about what you want.
I mean, really, I mean, neither one of them do. I mean, to be frank, but I mean, the Democrats probably had more potential than they do now, but they
Oh,
adopted the Republican economic plan. They just
mhm.
support the different side. They support the green side or whatever side. They're the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, but I mean, I just want Donald Trump to win solely to watch the country just go insane, and
Yeah.
I just want to laugh. Like, did you see Walmart? Walmart, they're not selling any ammo until after the election
Why?
because of civil unrest. They're that
I don't
fearful.
know.
So, what side is going to be shooting up people? Do you think?
Well, you know what side.
Well, I don't want to get censored by YouTube.
Well, I mean, we're not big enough to be censored.
Not yet, no. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. It's never been like this, like that I can. Well, I mean, we're 30, so we haven't lived that long, but I don't think in our parents' generation or in our grandparents' generation it's ever been like
Not
this.
like this, no.
No, never. I mean, I think the last time it's been like this was like antebellum pre-Civil War. It's radical. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I mean, in
know,
terms of deaths involved, there's nothing. There's been nothing like this.
11 people shot in Philadelphia with these last couple of days, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. It's
So
insane.
let's conclude with with Glenn's his final part here. I think this
Okay.
is a good part. Despite all of this, I did not want to leave the Intercept, but the brute censorship, this week of my article about the Hunter Biden materials and Joe Biden's conduct regarding Ukraine and China, as well as my critique of the media's rank closing attempt in a deeply unholy union with Silicon Valley and the intelligence community to suppress its revelations, eroded the last justification I could cling to for staying. It meant that not only does this media outlet not provide the editorial freedom to other journalists, as I had so hopefully envisioned 7 years ago, but now no longer even provides it to me. In the days heading into a presidential election, I am somehow silenced from expressing any views that random editors in New York find disagreeable, and now somehow have to conform my writing and reporting to cater to their partisan desires and eagerness to elect specific candidates. And, I think that is perfect. I mean, everything that he is describing is completely viewable today.
Absolutely.
You can't sit there and tell me that this isn't happening.
It's 100. The only reason why you would sit there and say it's not happening is because it's everything you want to hear. I mean, the man has kids. He's leaving a secure job, something that he founded, that he makes plenty of revenue off of, just because he can't sleep at night because of censorship. And I mean, I applaud him. Like, start a GoFundMe, I'll donate. But it's disgusting, and it's scary, and it's some George Orwell 1984 shit that we have going on here. I mean, you got the truth police, you got full censorship. I mean, it's going to come to the point where if it's not already there, you're going to have to hide the way that you feel if it goes against the narrative.
Oh, I know. And I think that we're already there, I think, to a degree. And I think if Trump wins, it's going to be even worse. If they find out you support that man in any shape or fashion, they're coming for you, man.
Imagine that. Imagine being hunted, I'm going to say, because you support the president of the United States.
It's pretty crazy.
It's insane.
Well, Jeff, it's been good. It seems times are getting crazy, man.
Well,
so we're gonna cover the election here coming up. It's gonna be contentious. We'll see what happens.
Win? 3 seconds to think about it. Who's gonna win?
I don't know, dude.
$1 million on the line. Who's gonna win?
If I had to bet $1 million, I'd bet Biden.
I would too.
Unfortunately, but
all right, buddy.
All right, man. Until next time.
Like, comment, and subscribe.